Hello everyone. Today we're going to be looking at this. This is a Nokia C15. This is one of a handful of bag phones that Nokia brought out back in a day. I don't actually know when exactly this came out. I think it's around about 1993, 1994. Going by the logos and when the logos changed, but unfortunately there isn't too much information about these kinds of phones. I mean, Nokia didn't really produce many phones that were for the amps analog technology. This is one of them. Generally, the amps market was dominated by Motorola. I mean, pretty much all the phones in the background were for the amps type system. And this is just a small collection. I'm sure there's many more out there. I've got a few more of these that are not on display, but there's probably models that I don't have, or permutations of models of some of these that I don't have, with different logos and different cell phone providers. Certainly Nokia did not make many phones for the amps system, purely because I guess they weren't very popular. A lot of people preferred Motorola. So let's take a quick look at this. Unfortunately, the battery's got quite a bit of dry rot. This is the original though, because it's got the Nokia just here. And this still will power on. Now, what's interesting to note with the Nokia phones, these phones were not designed to have a battery on them. Basically, if you open this up, and I will do in a second, there's actually no connector for a battery. And the way you use these basically was you had a car cord. And that would plug into your cigarette lighter in your car, and that's how you'd be able to place and receive calls whilst on the move. So this phone really wasn't provisioned to be carried around, you know, when you sat at a cafe or, you know, mobile. You had to be in your car to actually, you know, place and receive calls to use this phone. Unlike some of the similar Motorola bag phones at the time when this came out, you know, this is just one of many that I have. This is just a regular old Motorola. This is an America series phone. I think this is an 820 actually. Yeah, an 822. Regular phone. Nothing fancy really, just the 3 buttons down here. Some of these had 3 buttons, some had 4, some had 5, some had 6, and some actually had 9. If you see some of the really old school ones, they had 9 buttons down here, and obviously the number buttons with the pound and hash. And star keys down there. So generally the fewer buttons down here, the more basic the phone. And this one doesn't even have a menu button as such, just power, send and end. So literally you place your calls, you hit send, and then when you finish the call you hit end, and that was it. No phone book, nothing like that. I mean, you have the recall in store, so I don't know if this does actually have a phone book. It might well do. I've not fired this up in a long time, so I don't actually know. But and some of these actually had a battery ports as well as the cigarette lighter. But I'll do another video about this at a later stage. I've pulled out a whole bunch of bag phones out of storage, so I'm going to do a couple of videos about these. So alternatively to the Nokia at the time, you had the Pulsar bag phones. Inherently, this is just the same. It's just a Motorola, but it's badged as Pulsar. Similar sort of thing. In fact, the innards of this is probably identical to the other phone I just showed you. Pretty similar. And these phones, you could get the battery adapter. These obviously also powered off the cigarette lighter, but you did get a little dongle where you could connect one of these old school batteries. And this is actually, you might have seen this in the other video. This is the battery that I used to power up some of the GSM transportables, this sort of size. And these batteries are still real common. You can pick these up. These are actually camcorder batteries, professional camcorder or professional video camera batteries. And there's a whole bunch of phones that take this sort of form factor. I mean, this, I must own probably at least 60, 70 phones that all take this kind of battery. And all the phones that I'm talking about are this sort of shape. And it doesn't matter if it's a Panasonic, an AEG, a Siemens, some of the Nokias that I have this in this sort of shape, they also take this. A lot of the Motorola's, the Bosch, there's a whole bunch of these that will take this sort of battery. So these are expensive though. They're about $50 to buy, so not exactly cheap. Yeah, so at the time, obviously you had to be in a car to use this. This one's in not too bad a shape. Unfortunately, the battery's not in the best of shape, but otherwise it's in decent condition. But what I'm going to do is just show you real quickly what this consists of, because in the bag it's quite difficult to see. So you'll notice that there's a few of these, and I'm going to do a few videos on all the different ones that I own. A lot of these are very similar. If you look at that, and then you look at another one that I have, which is this one. I'm going to put that towards the back. This is pretty much the same phone. It's just that they've moved this 6 buttons down here on that phone. So the insides are probably exactly the same. In fact, the base unit in this phone is exactly the same as that. They had generic base units, and that's the big box inside the bag, really. And then they just changed the handset, and that was the model change, basically. So pretty ingenious at the time, if you think about it. They had a whole bunch of models like this, but actually, from a features point of view, it doesn't really improve anything on the features. So let's take a look inside one of these. I'll quickly try and unzip all the pockets and stuff and show you real quick what this consists of before powering it on. If I can get the antenna off, that is. This is a real tight squeeze as well. So the antenna is actually on a right angle to this, which makes it that much more awkward to unscrew. As you can see, I don't want to damage the antenna further though, because it's already in poor state. So there we go. So that's the antenna, and that's not flexible. So and that's rock hard. That's metal. You could hit someone on the head with that and do some serious damage. So okay. So what you get is basically a generic box like this. I'm going to unplug these quickly just to show y'all. It doesn't actually have the model number on it. It's got some serial number stickers, made in Hong Kong, but it doesn't actually tell you the model number of it. It just says mobile telephone transceiver, Nokia products, type C250. But this isn't a C250. This is a C15. Even though this says it's a C250, the handset is a C15. I've done some research online, and this is definitely a C15 handset. Whether or not the two got kind of mixed up at some point from previous owner, I don't know. But it's important to note that the other phone, the other Nokia that I just showed you, which is this one, has exactly the same base unit like this in the bag. And that's definitely not a C250 either. So what you got is basically the handset, and that's it. And that's slotted right in there, the handset. And then you also got the cord, which had this car socket, car plug on it. So I'm quickly gonna put this back in now, so we can fire this baby up, and y'all can see this working. If I can slide this guy back in real nice. And this is quite a tight fit. I don't know if you can tell that, but it didn't definitely give you any leeway on the cabling, that's for sure. Just trying to locate the other cable now. So that seems to have disappeared. Here we go. So make sure I get this the right way around, otherwise it'll go pop. Okay, so I have here, this is a makeshift AC adapter. This is just like this emulates your car socket for your 12 volts, and this plugs straight into the AC outlet on the wall. So we're going to plug that in, and hopefully that'll come to life when we hit the power button. Give you a bit of a close-up view. I don't know why that's not focusing. There we go. So the menu on this is actually fairly basic. There is a menu button, and when you press the menu button, you basically have to choose menu A or menu B. Menu A is your regular functions that you're likely to use fairly often. Menu B is the more advanced stuff that you might not use on every day, on a day-to-day basis. So you hit menu, you get menu A or menu B, and then you can go in, for example, and menu B will be enter PIN code, the last call duration, the total airtime, so that's 471 minutes. I don't know what that is. Horn, no alert, I have no idea. Redial, alarm, HF not present. I guess that's some sort of accessory, because this has a little well, it's a cover, it's a rubber cover for something, and it's got an explanation here for some transceiver and a handset. I'm guessing this had an auxiliary of some sort, which I don't have. But anyway, so going back to the menu, you press menu and menu again, and then menu B. If you wanted to enter that, you entered that. I've gone through all this. You can select the language, key tone. You could either have very loud, or what are the options on that? Let's have a look. Menu. So you have off, quiet, medium, loud, or very loud. We'll go with a very loud. DTMF, continuous, next menu, and that was it. That was your B menu. If you wanted to go up a level, you press clear, and then went into menu A. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. How do I get into menu A? Is it store? Nope. Okay, that's interesting. I did do this earlier before doing this video. Oh. I don't actually remember how I did it, which is a bit strange. Menu A, menu B, nope. So how do you select that? Okay, well, I don't know how to get into menu A. It should be the easiest one to get into, but for some reason I can't get into it. So I can't really show you that. So let's try something else. Ah, here we go. So you press menu pound, and that gets you into the menu A. So you got alpha search, system auto level, 1 minute alert, ringer very loud, auto dial, background light either on or off, auto answer, ignition sense, and that was it basically. Alpha search. So I guess you press store, and that would go through the menu. Of course, all these memory locations are empty, so there's nothing in there. But you can't really do much with these, obviously, because these are for amps, and they shut off amp cell towers quite some time ago. Plus, we're in the basement, so no chance of this getting any service whatsoever. That's all I can say about this, really. These are pretty neat phones. It's a shame that we can't get service on this, because certainly I think these are pretty rare nowadays. Most people, when they associate a Nokia phone, they think of a handheld which you can hold up to your head. It's very few people that actually know Nokia made bag phones like this. Certainly when you say bag phone, people just automatically assume that it's a Motorola. From you know what I've researched, this is definitely a Nokia though, so we're good to go. That's all I have to say about this one in particular, really. This is definitely for amps, as far as I know. So if you know any different, drop me a comment. Let me know. I don't have a manual for this. I do for some of the other bag phones from Nokia that I own, but not this one. So I can't really do much with it, unfortunately. But just hitting send. The beep is quite loud, so I can't show you the ringer either because it doesn't have a volume control apart from this button here. And actually, if you press that, you can choose how loud the volume is by these squares. Obviously, that's full volume. Press it again and you get low volume. And that's how you change the volume on these bad boys back in the day. There's no side buttons on the side or anything. So, that's all I have to say. As I said, feel free to check out some of the other videos I have on the smaller microtacs in particular. I'm doing quite a few videos on Nokias now because I think people are getting a bit sick and tired of a Motorola at the point. So check out some of them and give me the thumbs up if you like some of these phones, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching.